stars making life shine. He towers tall but gentle too. With every laugh the grass turns green. Whisper secret, skies turn blue. Hugh the giant paints the scene. With a snappy sun and tides, filling hearts with joy and light. No, there's nowhere to hide from Hugh's magic day and night. In the forest where giants roam, Hugh the bravest always there, turning world into a home, kindness flowing through the air. Fears dissolve when Hugh walks by, mountains echo his delight. With his touch the flowers fly, every day feels just right. When life's stormy and skies are gray, call on Hugh, he's on his way. Snapping fingers make smiles to stay, bringing colors to your day.
Welcome in, everybody. Happy Sunday to you. It is, well, we're 9 days into November so far. We are 20 days away from the anniversary of Star Trek Fleet Command, where it will be turning 7 years old. So lots happening this month. Today, we're going to talk a little late on a Sunday, but foosball happened. American foosball, real foosball. Yep, I said it. But we have a little short stream and talk about what's going on there right now in the game. Help anybody who needs it. And yeah, we'll go from there. Main question being for a lot of people, are you even bothering enjoying Outpost? Right? Can you find them? Now, of course, this is a question out to the G5 plus players, as our lower levels won't have access to that. Yep. But that's okay. I'll be honest. I feel like the lower levels have a better battle pass month right now anyway. Maybe that's my opinion, and maybe not everybody agrees with that opinion. That is my current opinion. I believe it's actually better if you're a lower level right now in terms of this month. But that's just my take, and it's also why we have these type of conversations, and why we jump in and have these types of chats with the players, so I can get a good idea of where y'all are actually at. So first off, let's give a shout out to those who are here. Shout out to Mad Mel, Iron Fister, RB Cypher, Graduated, Swifty, Braindead, Bally Bomb, Mika Dave, JC, Elated, Gangsta, Dinwit, Mark Holloway, Mad Mel, King. Good to see you. Ozu, Burning, Kronos. Hello to everybody. Welcome on in. Do hope y'all are having a fantastic weekend. Well, I mean, as much of a fantastic weekend as you can have as, someone that's got to do a lot of Sigma trit and go grind. Or maybe you're out there and you're actually having a great time because you don't need any of those things. By the way, Rev's turning on his ticket events because I need those things. And I honestly have saved up tickets for a long time, so I've got a lot of tickets to do. So no worries on blowing through these tickets today for me. Though obviously, wait, I got to recruit one here. Level up and promote officers. I could do that. Yeah, let's go ahead and turn that one on too. Let's just turn all the tickets. But yeah, hello, Jay. Good to see you, Vasuba. And Scorpio, starting our question off with an answer. Are we doing Outposts? They say yes, but not really enjoying them. Keep asking myself why I'm doing it, because the refinery isn't that great either. I keep hearing that, and I'm truly curious, because I think the refinery is one of the best in the game. But I also think it's very, very, very relative to player level. So, Scorpio, what level are you, if you don't mind me asking? Because my G3 account obviously is trying to progress, and that's what a lot of people are going through. Then you get into the G6 account and you go, well, what's valuable for me here? I mean, for me, it's primes, premium mirror dust, the ship skins. All those have a lot of value to me personally, but I am learning more and more of individuals who don't have that same affinity for a lot of these things, and I think it's worth discussing and sharing. Scorpio says love 56 as the primes are the most useful. See, there's over 24 primes in there, and then at 56, don't forget, you could also be working towards that G6 ship skin saving force that you can once it's out, get it, take advantage of it, and use that. Right, use that. The email says, Delpher here from server 168. I guess the PvP buffs from Outpost are useless for arenas as it was pull your ships from the Outpost. That is correct, B email. So, you know, the only time you can really take advantage of any of the PvP buffs in one of these Outposts is going to be in the situation where, actually, I only have enough to run. It's going to be in the very unique situation where you are PvPing like in territory or something, not in arenas. So it'll be a no advantageous effect for you to do that. That's correct. Which does kind of like, again, and I've brought this up already, I feel like limited value on the, and again, I'm not trying to just be negative. I don't want to incite y'all to be negative. I do feel like there is limited value though when it comes to specifically the long-term use of Outpost, because once you get the primes, once you get, you know, let's just say the high items in the refinery that you actually believe are good, then what? What is your incentive to keep doing them? I think that's going to be a tough question for a lot of people to answer. What is the incentive to continually do the Outpost if you've already got what the Outpost can really give you? And because if the buffs are things that, like, let's say that you unlocked this Outpost and those were buffs that you had for the next 24 hours, like exocomps or something, but because it actually requires you to be present, to be there, really takes away a lot of the value for a lot of players on whether or not these are things that are worth going after. And I think that's completely fair. And if Scope is looking for things to adjust based on feedback and what players are saying, I think that's got to be a major point to adjust. Denwit says the ship skins are available too late to be useful for their effectiveness. At 57, I can't buy the skins for 60, and once I'm 60, I'll want to be building and upgrading them instead of getting the skins. That's fair. I think that's fair feedback to make the skins available earlier on. I think that is legitimately great feedback and something that I know others have said. I would like to, think that Scopely hears that feedback. I know they hear it, but whether they take it and go with it, we'll have to wait and see. But I do think that it's a good thing that we're at this starting point to begin with. Can it get further? Absolutely. And that's going to be something that we have to continually talk about. So Graduate Kate says, overall, I like the mechanic of Outpost, but the execution is just lacking. Too many items are too late for most players to get the use out of them. Yeah, and look, and that's always a tricky one when it comes to the Overlords. They talk about this a lot, about having things become available too soon in their mind and too quickly. And I feel like way too often than not, they are far too conservative and maybe even overcorrect to a point where you're not going to be able to have any value. I agree, though, that if you're going for the 60 ships, use these as an example for today's discussion. If you're going for the Outpost stuff, well, then, yeah, at 56, you should be able to start working on that skin. That's going to be when it's actually, valuable for you. Elegated gangsters at 60 plus are blocking the low Outpost. Finding one is near impossible. And I brought that up the other day. It's like I can complete a 56. I can get most of the way through a 60. And I can get early through a 63. I can get the 63 is definitely a jump. It shows that I need to get stronger as a player, but the 63 is definitely a jump. Still, it is worth noting that at only 180 of these in the actual server, and obviously that goes all the way up to G7, there's limited amounts. And there's been discussion of, number one, shortening the actual hostile timer from 5 minutes to a lower number. There is a reason they have it there, or there's a reason that there is that delay, but they are also, well, like I said, how long will this survive in terms of longevity? Because like I said, we're in the first month of it now. Will people still be pushing for Outpost 2 weeks from now, and will the number even matter, right? I think a lot of that is just based on how many people are actually doing it now, and I do think that this is a mechanic that is not going to have the same replayability as people get further and further into it. I think it's going to be one of those where, do I have the stuff I need for my refinery? No. Okay, cool. I'll go do this on a Saturday. And that's what I'm doing for that week. And just people will split it up based on when they actually need to go after the currencies. So, but we'll see. Brandon says at level 71, they're doing the 63s with third tier ships. Since I'm a dolphin, not a whale, and I need my main ships for my main task. That brings up another big point for the Outpost, is that it ties up your main ship directly. You can't use it for anything. You've got to do the Outpost with your best ship or punch down, which, as other players are saying, Well, maybe can inconvenience those players. Are we doing it to inconvenience them? No, we're just doing it to get our stuff done. But it makes sense, right? You know, it's like I can tie away my best ships, and if I do absolutely craziest perfect cruise, probably can go and do a 60. Now, I won't punch down all the way to a 53, but I will say that I've punched down to a 56 because of the reasons that y'all are listing, right? Because of those things that are happening. So Brett says they're level 57. I'm only doing the intro 51s with my best 2 ships. I set them and forget them before I go to bed or when I go to work, if I can find an open outpost. And see, that also brings back to the original conversation that we started this with was there any actual value in the buffs? Now, some of the buffs you want to activate just to make it easier to go against the specific hostiles you're going against, right? So that doesn't really have anything to do with, you know, outside usage, like the PvP ones and stuff. But that also requires you to be semi around so that you can then activate that outpost buff and upgrade it when you need to upgrade it, right? It doesn't have to be around the entire time, but it's quicker than just like a 30-second set it and forget it, right? And then Elated says, why does it block the Q trial button? And that's another good question. Now, it's behind my camera right now. And for those that don't know, you can get back to your Q trials. Like you can run a Q trial by going into your base and then clicking on it at the building itself. But yes, that tile did take the spot of where the Q trial button is. And if you've got an outpost active, it will override in terms of importance and it'll be the one showing. So there are a couple ways to get to your Q trials if you have got an outpost running, but at the end of the day, is it annoying? Is it needed? I think these are all like legitimate questions that most people are going to ask, you know, because like Brandon says that you can pull up the button L on the PC client, but at the end of the day, this is still mostly a mobile and I mean, I don't know how many people using tablets to be honest, but it's still mostly a mobile game. So there's some usability, some functionality issues here that I think can definitely do with some correction. Sorry, y'all, sitting down. My back's killing me today. Don't know why. But some things that we can all agree need to be better. And we'll see if some feedback, because we've seen loops from this design team before, right? You provide them some feedback, you give it a week or two, and you'll see some slight changes. And don't forget, we have the mid-month patch for some bug fixing coming this week as well. They're doing the mid-month patch early, and it's my hope that we'll see some goodies in that actually cheer some people up, put some quality of life smiles on people's faces. You know, it's my hope that that's when they're finally going to push the Mantis and the Meridian into the IA. Now, to be clear, if anybody says anything, I'm not saying that's going to happen, but I will remind y'all that if you go into your avatar screen, the Mantis has been there for a bit. So if you scroll down, obviously there's icons for all the ships that have masteries. There's the Golden Amalgam one, there's the one for the Voyager, etc. Well, if you scroll down, you'll see some that nobody has because they've put them in the game. That's not the right one for the Mantis. There's one for the Mantis and there's one for the Meridian. The Meridian is down here. You see it says Golden Meridian Avatar, earned for the Independent Archives. And then there's also, if I can find it, one for the Mantis in here as well. And right now, I don't see it. There it is. As soon as I thought I didn't see it. So you've got 2 ships that clearly they're already prepping to add to the IA. I really hope that's part of the mid-month patch. Obviously, they can release those whenever they want to, but clearly they've got them ready. Like they're loaded in the chamber. It's just whether they're going to pull the trigger on that, and I hope they do. Again, this is a month that not everybody's been very happy. I know some of our lower levels have been happy. I know a lot of our G7 players have been asking kind of like, what's the point? Like, what's the incentive for me when it comes to things like Outpost? I think that's a legit question. You know, you need to do something to help these players along. I think that'd be a good one for them to do. Simon says, in regards to Outpost, that they're only doing it for the event. Otherwise, I would not do them. I need my ships elsewhere and not have them tied up for hours. It needs to dip. It need to, I have no idea what that last sentence is supposed to be. Y'all proofread your sentences. True says, is there a special reason why we can't change servers more than once at a higher level? Because I would love to go to a G3 server. Just made that up. The reason they don't let you just move accounts is they don't want, you know, for example, 50 of the strongest players all move into one server, stuff like that. They have a very specific balance they want to maintain when it comes to server populations, and they try not to deviate from that. That's why you can't move past level 12. And for those who haven't been around that long, that didn't even used to exist. That's actually you could call it a newer function, but you didn't used to be able to do that at all. You could not change servers. You just started where you started. So whatever was the newest thing releasing or whatever was open, you were auto sorted and there was no moving around. Now they've got it to where if you're level 12 and below, you can move around, but they've been pretty clear that they have no intention of allowing that to happen for higher levels. And that's part of why they don't want their precious server balances and economies being messed with, because obviously their goal is to create, these pods and these whale pods of spending. And it's better to do that with a lot of small pods than it is to do that with a lot of large pods. That's why you don't have a server that's got, 10,000 people on it. And that's why they don't design the map to have 10,000 people. They design the map to kind of be right where it's at. It's meant to be 1,500 to 3,000 players, and a certain number of nodes go into that. It's pretty consistent with them. Anyway, long-winded way to answer your question, but there you go. So Drago says that they're killing the Outpost I can for the building currency. Won't be able to pull G6 mats as fast as I can. Yeah. And again, remember, when you have a D or a Tiger loop, that's just going to be how it is usually. Is the first month or two, there's definitely a long buy-in period. It's going to take time. Long term, it'll have value. Long term, it'll be something that most players probably enjoy. But short term, there's going to be pain points, lots of grind points of like just getting into it, What's up, I Choose Life? Welcome in. I don't remember all the steps in each ship loop. Where can I look? Discord would be the best place I think I could recommend for like just being able to ask about a loop. We have places that list like what the ships are and where to unlock them, but as far as like the actual loops, I don't know if we have anything for that. And off the top of my head, if we do, somebody correct me if I'm wrong in something like the Discord, but like one that actually lists out, here are all the loops and here's all the steps to each loop. Now we have spreadsheets for every single loop. So like we've got, hey, here's how this works, that works, but nothing that's in a centered location, except for just the knowledge that folks have on the Discords. So what is the matchmaking range for arenas? So like if you are the leader, you're going to have up to 4 levels above you and 4 levels below you. So what level Outpost should an Op 60 be going for? I mean, in like the best world in terms of how well they can perform, I would say a level 60, a good level 60 is going against at least the 56s or the 60s. Now, again, you could be a newer 60, or maybe you haven't researched certain things and you have to go down to 53. I mean, the key is, and here, we'll put this on the screen. The big key with the Outpost is the Wave 2 ones, the Wave 2 hostiles, are the ones that actually pay out the best currency. Now, you get currency for every hostile that you take down. Here, let me put this on the screen. 1 second. Give me just a moment. Outpost. All right, there we go. So as you can see here, we're going to get currency for each one. So like if we do a Wave 1 retaliation hostile, that's the first 42. So let's just do a 53. I'm still getting 10 credits a run, right? I'm still getting my medals. That's all the same. The big difference, though, is the plunder, right? And getting the plunder is how you get the primes, the ship skins, the hierarch officer, a lot of the premium mirror dust. All that is behind the plunder. So you want to try to run as many of these as you can, which is annoying to say because I'm telling y'all that y'all really want to do a 6-hour mechanic. But like if you're talking about earning rewards, that's why you see so many people punching down, because you can't get any plunder. Let's say you're a level 66. Well, if you do a 66 and you can only make it 40 in, you get no plunder. But if you punch down to a 60, you get plenty of plunder. It's also worth noting, G6 players going up to G6, Outpost, then their buffs that they need to pay for cost Sigma par steel. So you would need to spend a million Sigma par steel like on a 63 to get the defensive bonus, whereas you can just spend regular par steel on a 60 because it's a G5 Outpost. That's one of the reasons you've seen a lot of the higher levels going down. It's simply a cost of resources thing. For reference, I'm sitting on this account, and I can remove our don't know bars. Y'all can see 3.5 million par steel. That's Sigma par steel. So you're not seeing my regular, but 3.5 million. So that would be for me spending a third of the amount of par steel that I have to run that mechanic. Now, I've said before that this game's done much better at making the economy better. The economy is better. I'm not saying it's not, but there's some logic train to it. It's not just like, oh, they're trying to steal my kills because they're buttholes or anything. No, there's some legitimate reasons why this is happening. And at the same time, this is the type of thing that hopefully, gets passed along in feedback rooms. They go back to their drawing boards and they say, hey, yeah, this is something that probably needs to change. Maybe we should adjust this because it's just not, giving a good user experience. And believe it or not, there are people up there who care about user experience besides us. So, yeah. Lord Iskaran says 58s are their sweet spot. And for reference, Iskaran, where are you at, like as a player? And just share everybody what you are at level-wise and grinding the 58s. Josh says the upgrades, the outpost reset every time. Correct. Correct. So if you are again, I'm trying to just find usage for these outposts in terms of like the buffs. But yeah, I mean, if you hold the outpost for 6 hours, then you'll have those buffs for those 6 hours. As soon as you no longer hold the outpost, it's done. You lose all the buffs. So the PvP buffs are worthless in arenas. Honestly, the PvP buffs are worthless, period, because were you going to go launch an outpost with weaker ships to get a PvP boost for your ships for territory? Yeah, I mean, a lot of the buffs just don't have a lot of value. Some people might find value in like the cargo buffs or something like that. But no, that is what many consider one of the big flaws of this setup right now, is the fact that, well, you just don't get any value for the outpost buffs themselves. They're pretty much worthless. I mean, you can use them, not saying don't activate them, but for most people, you're not going to find or see any real game improvement via the buffs, at least from what I've been able to see so far. No real actual game improvement. It's just something that you do to get a little bit further with the outpost itself, but not for actually using them as a mechanic. So if you're in the chat and you disagree, feel free to chime in. I'm just speaking what I'm seeing. A lot of people are just not taking the time or bothering to use something that they don't feel is going to give them any real usage. Anyway, we can get your thoughts on the new officers and are they even worth chasing? If you're a PvP player, yes. I would say get the primes and stuff first. Like if we're in the refinery and we're talking about spending that premium currency, I'm going after premium mirror dust and such before I'm going after the new hierarch. Next month, spoiler alert for those that don't know, next month there will be, shocker, here it comes. Next month there will be another officer. And that officer will also be PvP related for those that don't know. Will there be a new meta? Maybe. Slowly but surely, I would say take your time, focus on what actually, benefits you now, and decide, is the hierarch going to be your answer, or would you rather get the primes and the premium mirror dust? I think long term, the dust and the primes have more long-term value, so I'm going to say those. Doesn't mean going after the hierarch is bad, and I don't necessarily think they're bad officers. But if we're just talking about like what's the game meta and what are people actually doing and using, I would say that going after the officers is a priority right now, probably not the most advantageous thing. We'll see again what things look like as they released more into this retaliation arc. We got part 2 next month. But yeah, I don't really see the need to invest, that heavily in the officer right now. Nice to have, but more of one of those, if you're already a PvP player person, sure. If you're one of the regular folks out there who like you PvP when it happens, but you mostly just PvE this game, I wouldn't worry about it. So, is there any official word on the Battle Pass Elite rewards not triggering? I'm one of the lucky ones missing out. I can only tell you that it's a known issue. I think that's going to get patched with the mid-month patch this Tuesday. I believe that's in the list of things that are being fixed with that. Let me see. They did post on Discord what all they were going to be fixing. At least they have for the past couple of patches. Let me double check on that patch. Let's see, official announcements. Give me just a second. They announced when the mid-month patch is. Updating the Officer Depot tokens. All right, they did not tell what it is for this one, but they did for the last one. But they did not announce it for this one. So, all right, let me go ahead and get all these clicks in. All these yeah clicks. More importantly than what they plan on fixing, do they have a list of what they'll be breaking? It's a great question, Ballybomb. One I wish I had the answer to. Key says the Outpost stuff isn't awful, except for the time investment needed. How much time do they think the average player has to play the game? It's a great question. I don't have an answer for it, but sure. It's a great question. All right, let's go back out here, collect all my stuff, and get this raw transgen refined. Do I get any? No, I have to rely on the box. Scholar says release G5 scrapping. For those that do not know, G5 scrapping has been scrapped, and there's no current plans of its release. For those curious as to why, well, what they were going to release was going to be, as what we would say, like the content creator's opinion and everything, and the moderator's opinion was it was really low. It was really bad, to the point that, you know, I think it would have made more people mad that it had been released than had it not been released, which is what they didn't do. They obviously have not released it yet. I think the better course is to make them go back and force them to change it, fix it, do something different, because what they wanted to do would have just caused a riot. So as much as we might be fans of, what was it, 3 Days Grace, who came out with that song, we don't want any riots around here. But good to see you here, Valley Bomb, and I appreciate you being here. Do you think they would come up with an idea where high-level players join forces with lower levels to defeat something like a super larger armada that needs like 20 ships to start? Yeah, that already exists. It's called Surges. Came out last month, and nobody really uses it. But yeah, that exists. That's called Surges. Yep, that's already a thing. If you haven't seen Surges, this thing right here. That thing right there. That's a surge. So yeah, it's already here. Happy to answer your question. All right. Do the hostiles from the hostile buffs and the outpost work against outpost hostiles? Only the ones that specifically say for the retaliation hostile. So if it specifically says retaliation hostile, then yes. If it does not, then no. So yeah, surges can only be started by G7 players, but any lower level player can join with them, and that is the mechanic. And I think eventually when there's more people in G7, you'll probably see that used more. But as of now, yeah, it's just not something you see a lot of. You don't see a lot of people running surges at the moment, but you need a G7 to start it. All right, what else we got, chat? Throw me the questions that you got. Did they increase ship hanger slots? So they have been talking about doing that for a long time. Current ship hanger slot numbers have been increased prior. The current number, wrong button. Come over to your hanger. You can just click on the details button. Current number is your stock plus another 164. So Bruno says yes to the title. I do them as a 67. I do the smallest G6 ones completely. So you're doing the 63s as a 67. Makes sense. You're doing the 63s as a 67. There's a surge event going on right now. Nice. Is anybody actually running any surges? I haven't seen anybody start them on my server. Is anybody actually running surges on Surge Day? Hello, Amy. Good to see you. Welcome in. You pay for the extra dock, and I was wondering, will there be a free-to-play way to unlock another dock? In the future, possibly, yes. I mean, obviously, as of right now, the only free-to-play dock is the one, or the only paid dock that has a free-to-play path is the one that just came out with the Augment faction here a couple months ago. I'd be surprised if they do another one so quickly. But do I think that they'll do another one? Sure. I mean, there's already precedent that they've done one. Why not do another? I just don't know, when that'll be. But I do think, yeah, they'll eventually. I mean, one thing that they've been very open about is that their plan is eventually everything gets a free-to-play path. Their problem is that they take a long time to do that a lot of times, and it is clearly very frustrating as a player when you're waiting for things that, sometimes by the time you get them just don't seem to really matter. So that's definitely, I mean, for example, that Scepter of the Grand Nagus I just upgraded. I'm taking it to level 12. Well, I mean, yeah, that's fine, but that's grade 3 stuff. Doesn't really help me except for power boosting numbers at this point. And what they need is more stuff that gets things going. I guess it's tough because there's things everywhere. Like they're just literally all over the place. You've got currencies and loops. There's too many places, but eventually, things just lose value. Even Khan's gloves. Talking about increased apex shred when fighting PvP targets. That level of shred, is that going to matter, 6 months from now? Probably not. That's just the nature of the game. It's just the nature of this game anyway. Not all games, but this game. All right, what else we got? Can you convince the overlords that we need a ship that decloaks all of the ships in the system? So they kind of did that with the Starbase, but I mean, an anti-cloaking ship has been brought up many times. No idea if when that'll happen, but that it has been brought up. Afternoon, Falcon. How you doing? So once you pay $20 to buy one dock, you got to pay $100 to unlock the next one? Because I don't see a $20 pack. The next one is, it's either $50 or $20. I think it's actually $50, but I could be misremembering. But yes, if you've the dock that you get, so there's a price tag to the dock. So like if you get the first saleable dock, which I think is Dry Dock G, free to play, well, that dock was a $20 dock. That price doesn't change, just because you got it free to play and didn't buy it. So like it won't roll over to the next one's $20. The next one's going to always be whatever the price point is. I thought it was 50, but if it's 100, then it's 100. Yeah, your price points aren't going to adjust just because you free to play the original option. So like Dry Dock H is going to retain its price, and even if they put out a free to play path, it's still going to have that price tag on it. So off the top of my head, I think it's happened a couple times, but off the top of my head, I can't think of the time where they just reduced a price of something. Like something was originally this amount and they actually lowered it down. It has happened a couple times. I just don't have, the example of that. But yeah, expensive docks. Expensive docks. All right, what else we got? Chat in the room. Your Buffalo Bills stunk it up in Miami heat and weather. Hey, my New Orleans Saints managed to get in a victory with a new quarterback. So happy days, man. Take the wins you can take. Because my hockey team's not doing well this weekend, so at least my football team won a game, and that's why we like multiple sports ball pucks. More chances to win. All right, go over here. We're going to run more of those Armadas. They still run the Jellyfish Brawl, or is that a thing of the past? Yeah, that is up to each Arc Runner every month. It does still run, I believe. I can double check that this month. I thought it was on the calendar, but they have been making a lot of changes, and that would have to be specifically for G4, G5s. Like they would stop running that for G6s, but I'd actually need to check in on that. Shoot me a message on Discord, and that could be my reminder. Justin says, trying to get the G7 player to help my alliance, but stuck on one of those 10 hostiles in the G7 mission. Any advice on crewing a tier 9 scimitar or an Enterprise E? Yeah, sure. What are they currently using? There are several different crews you can run. We've actually talked about Strange New World crews that have been big before. We actually just had a whole episode talking about Janeway Suitor Seska here on the stream. What are they using? That Janeway Suitor Seska one or Chain Suitor Seska as well are two crews that G7 players are using for hostiles up there. Not sure what your player is using, but yeah. Quality of life request. When you click on an open research builder and then a subsequent research tree, it'd be nice if the screen would move to the first available research. Already does that, Kenneth. That's already a thing. Don't know if you know that, but that is already a thing. You go into here, hit a research. Already does it. Well, there you go. Already does it. Thing is, primes. Like if you have a prime, it counts those. So if you've not finished a prime, it stops where the prime is. But that already happens. So if I did this prime, then it would start jumping up to the prime temporal, but it already does that. That was a quality of life update they put in, I don't know, probably a year ago. You see how it jumped here? I'm at the very beginning, never mind. Which one would jump? Galaxy would jump. Nope, Galaxy didn't jump because I've not done that prime. So that is a thing, but you have to have done the primes for you to get the jumping in. So if you're sitting there as a mostly free-to-play player, there we go. There's one that jumps quite a bit. So my territory tree jumped quite a bit because I've not done the weak spots one for the sarcophagus. It does do that. You just got to have the primes. Do specific crews work better with specific ships, or does it just depend on the task you're trying to complete? The task you're trying to complete. Specific ships do not really need specific crews. There are some very, very niche instances of that, and obviously we're not really talking about PvP. But no, crewing is for hostiles. You don't crew for a ship. So like if I give you a crew to fight the Augment Exiles, it's not going to be different on the Rotaran versus the Daedaric. It's going to be the exact same. True says I'm a Browns fan and I don't understand life anymore. Hey, I got great respect for people who are like lifelong Browns and Jets fans. Like the fact that y'all have, toughed it out and just stuck with it. Mad respect. It's kind of like how you just tough it out and you deal with Star Trek Fleet Command. Respect. Like it's awesome that you do that. It's awesome. Shocking sometimes, but also awesome. All right. What else we got? Finally got to Syndicate 52. Very nice ISO boost. Excited to be more competitive. Congrats. I am currently working on this account to get to 56, which doesn't have any boost there, but I will be able to get more loyalty chest rewards, but a full pull of T'Pring. So for somebody who likes collecting officers right now, that's a big one. That's nice. Yeah, shout out to the Browns fans. Some are ship type specific. Well, I guess that really depends on what you're listing. So like if you say Strange New Worlds, yes, there are some officers that like Spock for explorers, but generally that's not the Strange New World cruise people are running anyway. So again, no, I mean, there's almost no instance where the ship is specific. Very, very rare. Very rare. Will they ever free to play for the multi-starter armadas? I would love that. I mean, it was my idea, but I have no idea if they ever will. I would love it if they did that, but we'll wait and see, I guess. That's another thing. Every prime eventually gets a free-to-play path. It's more of how long does it take to get there? How long does that take? And Scopely's made it impossible for us to predict just because they're all over the place. Sometimes they'll get a prime that is a free-to-play source in like 4 months, 3 months. Sometimes it'll be 6 months, a year. Sometimes it'll be years, and we've almost forgotten that it existed, and they'll come out with the mechanic for it. And a lot of that, again, is shout out to the players and the volunteers who continually bring it up. We got a spreadsheet for it and everything. I mean, it's only because people make sure they don't forget that they don't forget. So, yeah. You're sad about the low drop rate of the G6 Rare with the Revenant. 2 weeks, no G6 Rare hits. RNG is a fickle fan. Fickle fan of the game. All right, let's get my Outpost running again while we're sitting here. I also need to go do some of the Zindi Outpost as well. Hopefully y'all are doing your Zindi Outpost. And don't forget, today is Sunday, so do your Anomalous Phenomenon if you have not already. It is Sunday, Anom Phenom Day. Get all those juices in, get all those badges for officers earned. You need them. Y'all need them. You can't even buy the multi-start Armadas for the final tier now. That's a very Scopely thing to do. Are the missions for this arc releasing as a drip? Because I've only seen one of the 4 missions currently. There are missions that are ops locked. What ops level are you? But they were also doing them as a drip, yes. Anything special coming for Thanksgiving? They do have a event series for Thanksgiving, yes. They also have one for the G7, the 7-year anniversary as well. So they do indeed. A few isolated artifacts will affect the ship damage if you can apply a certain state, such as hull breach on an interceptor. Yep, that's a true statement. Thanks to the info to slow down and leveling up, I've gotten the Voyager, Cerritos, and Intrepid, so not trying to grind with the max out. Sally, thanks again. Happy to hear, John, and I'm hoping you're enjoying your gameplay, because at the end of the day, that's what's got to matter, is you enjoying your gameplay. That's what I hope for everybody anyway. You know, get y'all to actually enjoy the game. I know, STFC and enjoyment in the same sentence. Crazy. Wish that was easier to know what chest that has which officer shards. It's hard to farm when shards come from so many places now. Well, all the officer chests show you where things come from. We also, Caleb, if you don't remember, we have that spreadsheet that I've shown out several times where we list where every officer can be sourced. So there are tools out there available to you. There are tools available if you're looking for specific officers. So, where's the desk game, man? My back is killing me. I think I need to take some ibuprofen or something. I don't know. Aleve. Who wants to sponsor the channel? Aleve, Tylenol, ibuprofen. Who's out there? Who's got me? Any update on rating? Only update I have is that the update coming here, in 2 days, 24 hours, 48 hours, 30 something hours. Anyway, the update coming is supposed to help with that. We'll see. I mean, it's one of the things they said they've been targeting. We'll see. Viagra, I don't think that's what I need, Turbo Timmy, but I appreciate it. You're very kind to bring it up. Thank you. Thank you very much. What a goober. You can utilize a Titan buff after the initial attack of the Outpost. If there's other teammates in the system, they'll also get that buff. The Titan buff is very nice. I mean, we talk about the GS31 Beam, how it could be effective in PvP, Mantis, but then you also got the Cerritos, Defiant, and Titan, and those buffs can be very useful in different situations. So, yeah. All right. What else we got? Just got here. If it's been said already, Outpost are meh. Not good, not bad. They just exist. And that's fair. It's completely fair, Michael. No, I'm glad that you bring it up. I'm glad that you say it out loud. You know, saying the quiet part out loud almost. But I do feel like they're a meh mechanic right now. And how they rolled out Broken certainly did not help endear them to a lot of people. Because we've got a very frustrated player base already. And, you know, having folks deal with broken things it's just one of those straws and camels, man. I've used that cliche a lot the past couple months. Straws and camels. Joe says Ot City 3 and I can't hit anything other than the smallest. Yeah, take your time, Joseph. It's one of the reasons that I'm really big on people playing slow, avoiding the scopely hurdles. That way you can actually get things done and actually have success and not worry that you're too weak or falling behind or anything like that, because that to me is worse than FOMO itself. Is just wanting to do something and just not being able to pull it off. Like, that just bugs me. So I would assume y'all are the same way. All right, that is the mining laser. Let's do our next big upgrade. Shield. Let's do the armor for our Serene Squalls. We slowly work it towards tier 6. Very, very slowly work it towards tier 6. Thoughts on a new support chip that can strip buff / debuffs? Sure. Like, I'm not against it. Can't say like I'm going to bang the drum for it and go crazy, but yeah, it's completely solid. Is it bad that I feel some players in one of the new bully alliances on our server because their crewing tends to not be the best? And sure, I feel bad for people. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. Everybody should have good crews. There's certainly resources out there that we teach good crews. I've not done a bad crew video in a while, so hey, maybe they'll find themselves on a bad crew video. That would be fun, wouldn't it? Wouldn't that be great if we can get a bad crew video going? If y'all want it, we can make it happen. Up to y'all. There we go. Get this in. Almost like the higher ups are not teaching the lowers and mids. That happens a lot, to be honest. I feel like we've had a lot of situations where, a lot of people just stick to themselves, and sometimes that's just people's way they play. Other people, that's just, well, there's being butts. I like helping my alliance. I think that's one of the most fun aspects of the game is that level of alliance work. And, how can we do this better than, how can we teach this person how to do these waves, these formations, etc. I think that's the best part of the game. And again, that goes back to my whole thing about community. So there you go. Another creator day thinks updates to base rating are coming. Thoughts? There are things coming to update base rating. So I don't know what was said, but yeah, I mean, I know of things coming. There's been a couple things they've had in their pocket for quite some time. I've been curious when they were going to roll them out. So there is indeed. we'll see if and when they roll those things out. I mean, the two things I'm wanting is to get the independent archive, have an update here, hopefully in the mid-month patch. I think that'd go a long way to helping, well, make a lot of people happier, to be completely honest with you. I think that would really help the state of the game of where it's at right now. They need that. They need that. So can't do much for people that don't listen. No matter how many times I mention PMC being useless against armadas, people still bring them. All I can say, Dinwit, send them my videos, and maybe we can shame them into doing well together. Our Formation Armada is the only place to get the artifact tokens to trade in for the artifact gallery schematics. It's a free-to-play. Yes, there are some lower level, like there's lower level events right now that are actually paying out the artifact gallery schematics because it's in the lower level battle pass. Be jealous, you high level players, but lower level battle passes have them in the reward section. But other than that, yes, you need to do Formation Armadas. That's the main thing. You got to do Formation Armadas. So the Exborg faction store does not pay out schematics, if I remember right. It pays out every other currency but that, but it doesn't pay out schematics directly. Now, I could be wrong. Let's double check. There's your artifact hall. Yeah. So it's just going to give you complex nanotech, the ISO, and the premium, and the regular artifact token. So not actual schematics. You have to get that from actually doing the turn in or from a G3 player battle pass right now. So there you go. Let's see where we got plenty here. I actually don't know how many directives I have. And I said I need to go also run the other ones as well. I need to go run the Zindies. So I'm working on this. Eventually need to go run some of these. That's just mostly for parts, ship parts, speed ups, you know, all the main things you need. The G6 Armada chest, the solo ones are pretty solid. And I need to do some regular ones though, so I can be able to pull these rares and these epics. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is gonna be a short stream for the day. I was just curious to get y'all's thoughts, but I've actually got to prep for something else here. And then tomorrow, for those who missed it, State of the Game will be posted on here tomorrow. So if you missed it, don't worry. We got it for you. Stay tuned. It's going to be a lot of fun. Thank y'all, as always, for your love and support. I greatly appreciate it. Live long and plunder. Y'all have a great, beautiful night, and I will see you on the next one.
An even better outro than the intro. For the Empire and glory to your house.